Okay, so continuing on with part 2 of this problem, I have realized that I wrote down the second half of it incorrectly, so please note the change in this bottom term on the right here. It's actually 8x squared minus 24x instead of plus 12x. I apologize for that. Okay, so I've taken the things that I factored so far and written them off over on the right here beneath my instructions. Those are from part 1. I'm now going to move on to the numerator of the second term here, this 2x plus 6. And again, my first step says to factor out any constants that I can. Well, each one of these terms shares a 2 in common, so this will become 2 times x plus 3. And the second step says to look for any special circumstances, but this term does not have any cubed or squared terms, so none of those circumstances are going to apply. And we don't need to factor using the AC method because the AC method requires a polynomial. So we're done with this one. I'm going to go ahead and write that up over here. And now I'm going to tackle my denominator of my second term. So we've got 8x squared minus 24x plus 18. I'm going to factor out what I can here. Now, the first two terms share an 8 in common, but this last term, 18, is not divisible by 8. So as it turns out, the most we can factor out of this term is a 2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So this becomes 2 times 4x squared plus, I'm sorry, that's a minus, it should be a minus. See, even math teachers aren't perfect. All right. Minus 12x plus 9. Okay. Now I'm going to ignore this 2 for a minute and tackle what's inside the parentheses here. Because I have now factored out any constants that I can. Step 2 says to look for any special circumstances. Well, none of these terms in here is a difference of 2 squares or a difference of 2 cubes, so I can't use those. So now I'm going to factor using the AC method. Okay. And the way the AC method works, hopefully this is a refresher, is you're going to take that term in front of the A and C and multiply them together. That gives you 36, and you're going to write out the factors of 36. So that's 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, and then 6, 6 and 6. Pen's not wanting to write 6s today. Okay. And then you're going to ask yourself, okay, which pair of these factors can I combine in such a way to get B, which is negative 12? Well, if we look at this last one here, if I do negative 6 minus 6, that would give me a negative 12. So I'm going to break up this B term into minus 6x minus 6x. So I'm going to rewrite this stuff that I have in the parentheses here to 4x squared. And again, I'm ignoring the 2 for now. We'll add it back on at the end. So I've got 4x squared minus 6x minus another 6x plus 9. Now, what's the point of doing that? Well, it allows us to factor by grouping. So I'm going to look at my first 2 terms here, and then my last 2 terms here. And I'm going to try to factor these in such a way so that the stuff left on the inside of the parentheses matches. Okay, so from the first 2 terms here, I've got a 4x squared and a 6x. Well, I can definitely pull a 2 out of those terms. And they also both share an x in common. So I'm going to pull out an x. And that leaves me with, on the inside of the parentheses, 2x times another 2x would give us our 4x squared back. 2x times a negative 3 would give us our 6x back. So that's my first term factored out. And then over here, and again, remember, the goal is to get the stuff on the inside of the parentheses to match. So I want to factor something out of both of these terms that will make the inside of the parentheses be 2x minus 3. So since our first term here is a negative term, and the first term on the inside of the parentheses over here is positive, that tells me I'm definitely going to have to pull out a negative number. Okay, and what 6x and 9 share in common is 3, right? 6x breaks down to 3 times 2x. 9 breaks down to 3 times 3. So I'm going to pull a negative 3 out of both terms. So if I do negative 3 times 2x, that will give me back my negative 6x. If I do negative 3 times a positive 3, oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. Oh, we want that to be plus. Again, see? Even I make mistakes. All right. So, if we do a negative 3 times another negative 3, that would give us the positive 9 back that we had in our original equation there. So, this now becomes, we're going to take, now we're essentially going to factor out this term in parentheses, but I like to think of it more as you're going to take the stuff on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and write it over here. That's the stuff in the parentheses. And multiply that by the stuff on the outside of the parentheses and put that in its own special term. So I've got a 2x and a minus 3 here. So, as it turns out, those terms match. Okay, so that becomes 2x minus 3, the stuff on the inside of the parentheses, times 2x minus 3, stuff on the outside. Okay, almost done. Now we have our equation factored out completely. Now all we're going to do is cancel our like terms. So we can cancel an this x plus 3. Oh, my pen doesn't want to write. With this x plus 3 on top, and again, you can only cancel things that are in both the numerator and the denominator. And then we can cancel this 2x minus 3, one of them, with this 2x minus 3 up here. And then there's nothing else that we can cancel. So our answer for this problem will be 4x squared plus 6x plus 9 all over x minus 3 times 2x minus 3. And again, the reason for that is when you have multiplication with fractions, you multiply straight across on the top and straight across on the bottom. Oh, silly me, I forgot my 2. Right, from my original equation, so there should have been a 2 down here. I apologize. And the reason they're not in my final answer is because they cancel. Sorry about that, guys. Don't mean to confuse you anymore. I know this is already kind of confusing. Okay, so there's our final and finished problem. So please let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to do more examples for you guys.